The search for the missing VW Polo at the Hennops River is continuing. This is the car, of course, believed to have carried those 3 missing police officers whose bodies were ultimately found along that area over the past week. Griselda Lewis is our senior reporter on the story, and she joins us now live. And Griselda, you've been there since the early hours of this morning. The day has officially started, and what I mean by that is that we can finally see much better than we did perhaps 5 hours ago. What's happened so far?
Well, Ayanda, these are live pictures from the Hennops River, where the search operation resumed just shortly after 7 o'clock this morning. Indeed, as you correctly point out, for what's believed to be the body of the vehicle that was transporting those 3 police officers whose bodies were retrieved here from the Hennops River after days after they'd gone missing. And, heavy-duty machinery has been brought in here to the Hennops River. And what looks to be behind me, in fact, was confirmed to me by our colleague on Morning Live, Sakina Kamwendo, who had a much closer look through our cameras, that there are 2 tow trucks that have been brought in here. Very heavy duty. They are pulling something very heavy. We keep on hearing some kinds of screeches, Ayanda. We're not sure exactly what these tow trucks are pulling at this particular point, but what I do know is that it may seem to be debris and a fallen tree. My understanding was that there might be a tree that may be an obstacle to some of the work that the rescuers are doing here this morning, and that tree needs to be removed. And there had been suspicion after it had been clear that after seemingly a vehicle had gone over the embankment on the N1, that, a car might have, swept down the Hennops River as a result of the heavy rains that we had. So this led rescuers to search a wider part of the Hennops River, and we're at a different location now to where we have been previously. And this is where police had told us late yesterday evening they managed to find or to locate what they described as heavy metal, which would resemble approximately the size of a car, which had been under the water. That used those rods that rescuers would put underwater to detect, and they did pick up that there was a heavy piece of metal that had been trapped under the debris. So the search is continuing here this morning, and indeed, shortly after 7 o'clock it did get underway. Heavy machinery, we do understand, additional heavy machinery is expected to be brought in as well to try and assist in this particular operation. The divers themselves are inside the water as well. They went in. It was a little bit chilly this morning, Ayanda, but the operation itself got underway, quite swiftly to ensure, that there is some kind of further details that could possibly emerge from this search operation which is taking place here this morning. And this is quite a crucial part of what has been a developing story over the past couple of days, and that questions have been raised by the family about what exactly happened to the vehicle that the police officers had been travelling in. Their bodies were recovered from the Hennops River, but the question remained about where the vehicle was. Police continued their investigations. We understand that rescuers had been working around the clock together with the divers as well, and that's when they managed to detect late yesterday this heavy piece of metal, which we understand resembles or is likely to be the size of a vehicle. So we're not quite sure at this particular stage exactly what they are pulling now, but what I do know is that it could possibly be debris and a fallen tree, a tree that might be a bit of an obstacle to what is being pulled at this stage. So it looks like we're going to be here for a couple of hours, but certainly heavy machinery that's been brought in here. Well, this has the families, really want closure. You'd recall, Ayanda, those, devastating scenes that we'd seen on the evening when the families had come to the scene itself. It's part of closure, where they want to see where the incident is believed to have taken place. They were very emotional there, and the questions are hopefully about what they've been asking about the vehicle that their loved ones were traveling in. They're hoping that those answers will will emerge from the search operation, which is continuing here this morning. So a number of divers inside the water carrying those rods to detect exactly where this heavy piece of metal is. And, police have also been working around the clock. You would know, of course, in this particular matter, while there are many questions about what exactly happened, investigations continue. Police have indicated they're still investigating a case of culpable homicide. However, if the situation changes and if there's any evidence to suggest that there's anything further they need to investigate, they will certainly do that. What I also do know, Ayanda, is that in that vehicle that the police were travelling in, there was believed to have been a firearm. Now, if indeed the vehicle is right here behind me, is tracked in the debris underneath this water, or in this water here in the Hennops River, that will be one of the key aspects, to point police in the direction of what it is they could be investigating here. If the firearm is still found there, that could possibly indicate towards nothing having been taken, from the scene. Also, the post-mortem reports are very critical. It's also quite crucial. But respectfully, we'll wait for the families and, the police or the authorities to give us further details pertaining to that, because that will also point in the direction of, what the possible causes of death may be. But this is incredibly difficult for these families as they watch all of this unfold. More questions are still lingering about what exactly has happened. But these, of course, are live pictures from the Hennops River, where the search continues this morning for what is believed, Ayanda, to be the vehicle that the 3 police officers were travelling in. But what has been described so far by police is a heavy piece of metal that was detected by rescuers using those rods. This was yesterday, where we believe what resembles to be the size of a vehicle may be trapped under the debris just behind me. But of course, we'll wait for official confirmation of that. But the tow trucker, which is right here behind me, we keep hearing, Ayanda, some screeches. And when I talk about screeches, it seems like something very heavy is being pulled. What exactly that is, I won't confirm at this particular stage. Let's wait for further details as we continue to bring you live coverage of this search operation.